Missouri, they're in central Tennessee, they're in Wisconsin, they're in Iowa, but all came out of North Carolina. North Carolina was one of the last states to leave the Union, but no southern state supplied more men, more guns, more money, more food than North Carolina. Any given battlefield, there's more North Carolina generally that laying there dead than anybody else. In 7 times, it's 1 in 3 that wore the gray of the 11 states was from North Carolina. If you go to Gettysburg, 1 in 4 men that died there that wore gray was from North Carolina. In my county, 1,126 men wore gray. Only 33 were wearing blue. Haywood County was one of the greatest counties for not. You'll hear the mountains of North Carolina was fully Unionism. Bull. Southern mountains were not. You'll find it a little more up in Allegheny, Ash, Watauga, that area. But down here in the southern mountains, we were 100% nearby Prussia. A lot of things drew those boys, though, from North Carolina over into Tennessee to join the Blue Army. One thing, if you were from North Carolina in '63, after Knoxville had fallen and General Burnside was there, if you were from North Carolina, the federal government would give you $300 to sign the line and wear the blue. If you were from Tennessee, they would give you $100. So that tells me that the federal government thinks a North Carolinian is worth twice again what a Tennessean. And who am I to argue with the federal government? North Carolina's motto in our National Guard, in the 30th Division North Carolina National Guard, tells our center of the Civil War lineage. First at Bethel, the first man wearing gray during the Civil War was from North Carolina that died. Farthest in Gettysburg, no other Southern unit on the Longstreet Advance. Some people call it Pickett's Charge, but it's Longstreet's Advance. Half those men were from the state of North Carolina. We had fought on the first day. Pickett's Virginians weren't even there. They had not fought on the first day or the second day. They fought on the third day. The way we know that North Carolinians got farther than anybody else. Does anybody know? We had a very special coat on. We were wearing, a lot of our units were wearing English railroad cloth on the Peter Tate coat. It's a gray-green coat. There was a colored man that buried the dead there. He kept meticulous records of where he found the bodies and where he buried them, so that later on when they were interned, they put in the National Cemetery. But that's how we know. He found no bodies over the wall that weren't from North Carolina. Now there were some Virginians that did go over the wall, but they went over like this, with their hands up. Pickett's entire division lost less men killed than one of the North Carolina regiments that were in there. So that tells you, I mean, his guys didn't do much fighting, they did a lot of it. Well, we go now to Chickamauga, North Carolina, that was from the Southern Mountains, from Jackson County, from Macon County, went farther than anybody else. And then the last line is last at Appomattox. If you go to Appomattox today, there's only one monument there in the southern state, and that's North Carolina. And the reason that is, the day before at Sailor's Creek, well, 2 days before at Sailor's Creek, most of the Virginians and the South Carolinians were knocked out of the war, either killed or captured. North Carolina still managed to stay with Lee. Lee knew his only chance lying 2 trains in Charlottesville, Virginia, that were loaded with food and ammunition and guns. That's what we needed worse than anything else. We still had an army. We were actually fairly well clothed, but food and ammunition was a problem. So on the April 8th, that morning, Lee came to his North Carolinians and sent them one more time against Custer's men. They're surrounded. The North Carolina attack goes up a small rise. On top of that hill, the Yankee cavalry has repeating rifles, Spencer rifles. They're pouring murderous fire, but the North Carolina advance is just relentless, pushes the cavalry off, blows the road open to Charlottesville. But the word comes to train Sheridan's cavalry is murdered. there's no choice now. Lee has to go hat in hand again to Grant and surrender. But North Carolina, we were the last. That same division in World War I, that same idea of North Carolina Hill men from upstate South Carolina, and one regiment of men from Tennessee, all mountain boys, formed the 30th Division, Old Hickory National Guard, went to France. Of all the divisions in France, including regular army in World War I, Old Hickory won more Congressional Medal of Honor than any other division. It's made exclusively out of the mountain boys of North Carolina, South Carolina, and Tennessee. In the Second World War, when they nationalized the National Guard, the 30th Division was called in. The block system took the South Carolinians out. So it was one regiment of Tennesseans, two regiments of North Carolinians that were made up that division. Hitler named it. We called the 30th Division North Carolina National Guard FDR's stormtroopers. 30th Division did a lot of heavy fighting. At the end of the war in 1948, they assessed the condition and the application of the division strategy in the European theater. Of all the Army divisions that were in European theater, 30th Division North Carolina National Guard was second ranked. The only division that was ranked in front of that was 29th Division, which was Virginia National Guard. You have to get up to number 8 spot before you see regular Army division. Today, our Army fights like that again. We don't do the way we fought in Vietnam. We learned the lesson that regular Army fights poorly without the volunteer America. That's what we fight best in. If the way we're fighting today is back to that system, they take the National Guard companies out of the states and send them off together. We know that we fight better with our guys local, our local communities. We train together, we live together, you go there, you fight together. If that company's decimated, it's hard on that local town, it is. But that system we use today, people are complaining about it, but it's great. My little brother is a colonel in the Army. He says that in his career now, the Army is the sharpest point it's ever been at. It's full of professionals. Guys have had multiple deployments. They're well paid. Our Army is well paid today compared to what it used to be. But it's an efficient system. I always liken it to my mentality is this. You've got the National Guard company commander. He gets the order to take that hill. That company commander ain't thinking about his career. What if I don't take that career? You know, how's my career going to affect as that regular Army officer thinks about it? So he takes that hill, but he also is thinking, I think the National Guard officer is thinking, if I take that hill, maybe we take one more hill and this war's over. And I can get back to my tire store before my son-in-law wrecks. Any questions? Now I know y'all gotta have